What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dudes Who Bet Daily here for July 29, 2022. I am joined by the esteemed Jared Welch here. And Jared, you're on a 4-1 streak on the ponies right now on this show. So no pressure, man. You picked my single today. Spoiler alert.
I know. I'm screwed, really. I started off I think I started off with England. That's what kicked things off, the Euro women, and then I went to Astros, and then I had the dirty nose on imminent victor last week. Then highly motivated, and of course that Baffert Philly romped was awesome yesterday. So yeah, I'm hot right now, 4-1, and I find out you have singled my pick. We'll talk about that in a second. So now I'm wondering if I need to maybe bet less with this horse.
No, just hammer it like crazy, man. We took some shit yesterday for picking favorites. You're on a 7-2 shot. I'm on a 9-2 shot. So we are completely away from chalk here. We got two baseball bets that the Halterman sent in. So we'll talk about those in a second. But let's start here at Saratoga, race 1, a really interesting maiden race. I wanted to talk about this before we kind of jumped into the stakes. You've got a couple Chad Brown horses on the rail, the 1 and the 2. The 2 horse last time out. This is Golden Alchemist, faced Saint Tappet. Saint Tappet is a Tappet out of a Havre de Grace, which Havre de Grace, obviously multiple Grade 1 winner. I believe she won a Breeders' Cup race as well. So phenomenal filly from that perspective. This horse ran second back 4 lengths, but you also have a half to honor code in the 5 here coming out of the half to code of honor. The 5 horse here coming out of the Shug Barn. What'd you do with this first race? It's awfully tricky. I think we could see multiple horses end up in stakes out of this down the line.
Yeah, I mean, as I go through my process here of going through and seeing where my best bets are at, and this one was an easy pass just because. I mean, anytime I love it, got my attention though because it's a maiden special weight going a mile and eighth, and you know that the breeding is going to be phenomenal with these kind of horses because you don't often see maiden special weights going a mile and eighth, especially at Saratoga. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's across the board. The 1 Internal Capital, the 2 Golden Chemist. I think the 5 Sidekick is taking some money, the 6 taking some money. The 5 Sidekick is interesting as well. The breeding, like you said, is just off the charts. And Arrogate being the 6, I mean, he's been red hot as a sire. Of course, that was my pick yesterday, an Arrogate sire. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those that I don't know how deep you went in this and for your first leg, but I'm guessing you went several. It's a 6 horse field. I think you probably went 4 deep.
I went 3 deep. I left out. I like the 2. I'm probably going to play doubles through the 2. It's really interesting. The second race is the only race that got taken off the turf today, and people are wildly misbetting it. The 5 right now is the favorite. The only time on dirt, the 5 ran a 0 buyer and literally did not want you to touch the dirt at all. So I had that horse as actually my 3rd horse in the second race. The 2 horse has been on turf twice by Blame. Blame, notoriously a terrible turf sire. Now you get this horse on dirt, which is probably the better service, sneaky speed on the inside too. So I kind of like the 2 in the second race right now, which is paying nice in the doubles. So I'll play some doubles through there. Yeah, the 6 was really interesting here with a Son of Arrogate. You mentioned this is a stretch out spot too. So you debuted at 1 1/16 and then cut back to 7 furlongs and you stretch all the way out to 1 1/8 here. You really can tell the horse wants more distance. So you do expect an improved effort. And like I said, the half to code of honor, I mean, multiple Grade 1 winner here in the 5, and we haven't even really talked about Sidekick that much.
Yeah, and I think obviously the secret might be a little bit out with this off the 8-1 morning line down to 7-2. And Lynch and Messiahs have hit at 36%. So I mean that's a great angle as well. And I think it's interesting that they debuted the horse going long. Maybe it didn't go perfectly well, or maybe the horse needed to start. The next start looked like okay, now he definitely wants to go long. He looked like he was kind of figured some things out there. So you got to think that this late kick of this horse towards the end of this race will do him a lot of good. I mean, you wanted to talk about this because I do think you're right. There's a lot of potential in this race in terms of these 3-year-olds as they develop. Obviously, it's late in the year, but as they develop and of course into 4-year-olds.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if the 1, the 2, the 5, and the 6 all run in a somewhat type of stakes race at some point in their career if they keep progressing they should be able to with the breeding. And like you said, going 1 1/8 as a 3-year-old right now, it's a maiden special weight race, tells you that these horses are bred to go those kind of classic distances. So should be a fun one to kick off the card there from the spa. Like I mentioned, the second race is off the turf. Every other turf race is good right now. And we have no rain in the forecast. It is supposed to be sunny and 85 to 90 all day here. So should be beautiful weather for Curlin Day. Excited to get to that. And we'll talk about the Curlin in a second here. Jared's top pick is from the Curlin. So we're going to take a little pause on there. Let's jump over to Del Mar Neither of us picked a horse in the Daisy Cutter. I know you almost did here. This one's a really interesting race. We have Twilight Gleaming returning from a little bit of a layoff here. She obviously was your Breeders' Cup. She was your Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint for the Phillies last year. You got Legs Galore with Speed Galore coming from that 5 post.
Yeah.
They should probably hook up here. Yesterday, Speed was dominant on this 5 furlong turf sprint at Del Mar. You need to be close or on the lead. You got 2 speed horses. Are you taking one over the other? Do you think they could cook each other? Where are you going here in the Daisy Cutter?
Honestly, Legs Galore is the reason why I didn't play the 7 Twilight Gleaming for my best bet, just because that makes me nervous. Legs Galore is a horse that really likes this distance. Is 3 for 3 at the distance. Loves Del Mar. Kind of cutting back after been running, going longer as of late, and running well. Right? This horse has speed, galore, as you said, and so you got to think the cutback will only do this horse more favors, right? Obviously the distance being 3 for 3. And I don't know. I mean, I don't try to take a huge stock in numbers. I use it as a kind of a reference point and kind of pivot from there. But, the 5 matches up definitely with the 7 from a numbers perspective. Now you look at their back class. I mean, obviously the 7 stand out, the Breeders' Cup winner at Del Mar, of course, nearly won the Queen Mary at Ascot. One in France, so Twilight Gleaming has got class, oozing out of her. But I don't know, interesting spot. What do you think of the spot here, considering we haven't seen this horse since May, been training at Saratoga, and Wesley Ward ships her out to Del Mar for, it's a stakes race, but it's the Daisy Cutter, right? So it's what do you think of that?
Yeah, it's been interesting to see what Wesley has done. You don't generally think of him at Del Mar, and he ran opening day in a stakes race there. Yesterday, he had Maven, and when I looked at the PPs today, all I could think of was Maven yesterday, who was the speed, but not the dominant speed. And then I think of Twilight Gleaming at Del Mar last year, winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Filly, and watching her pop out of the gate and just run away from him. You think about how dominant he's been at Del Mar, at Breeders' Cups, on turf sprints, and it's really scary not to say, yeah, Twilight Gleaming is going to get the lead. Right? Because if she does, she's really dangerous in this spot. If she gets loose by a length, I don't think she can get loose by a length. I think that to me is the key here. I think because Legs Galore drew inside, it's going to make Twilight Gleaming's life a lot more difficult. I still put her on top. After watching Del Mar yesterday, I put her on top, but I kind of like the one horse a little bit here. I think that you're going to see a absolutely perfect trip from Royal Address, who has tactical speed. And if these two hook up the way I think they can, you could see 20 and change, 43 and change. And if that happens, all of a sudden, horses like the 1 Royal Address, even the horse like the 3 Sadie Bluegrass, who's a monster number 15-1, seem to fit. It could get weird. And it's all about how fast they go early, if they hook up, and what happens. I do kind of like the 1 a little bit, though, at a price. So I'm going 1-7 in my pick 5s to try and get around Legs Galore, and hopefully we can beat her.
Interesting. I just think this is it's a speed of speed kind of race, and I just couldn't quite grasp on which one it's going to be. But I definitely think if the 7 fades, the 5 will hold on. If the 5 fades, the 7 will hold on. So that's why I think I'm playing a 5-7 there. But if you definitely think this is going to be a total meltdown, obviously the 1 I feel like is the biggest benefactor for that.
Yeah, I'm hoping the 1 is close enough. That to me is the key, because I don't want to be coming from 15 lengths off. You want to be coming from 3 back, and that final furlong, they both just kind of start sucking wind, and you can make up some ground, because they're still going to, neither of them are going to stop at 5 furlongs. The hope is that the 5th furlong is just a little bit slower than the first 4. You're able to make up some ground. All right, before we jump into the horse bets, we'll talk a little bit of baseball here. I'm going to kick it off with Aaron's best bet here. This one was interesting to me. I'm not going to lie. I went the other side with the Reds, so I'm not going to advocate too much for this. The main reason is he's taking the Orioles, who have not announced a starter yet, for a 6:40 p.m. game here Eastern time. Now, in Aaron's defense, the other side, Mike Minor is 1-7 with a 6.65 ERA for the Reds, and the Reds suck, and the Orioles are good. So I get that perspective of it. The lack of the starter scares me a little bit. But the Orioles have been rolling here. Any opinions on Orioles Reds here, Jared? You just want to take a pass on this one?
Whenever you see the undecided little icon, you're like, I don't know. I honestly, because I couldn't quite get a great feel. Obviously, I took a 7-2 best bet. We'll talk about that in a second. I couldn't get a great feel. It's maybe baseball, and I couldn't get a great feel for baseball either today. The matchups are tough.
Yeah, I almost played a 3-team money line parlay in baseball because I like it. Like Verlander's pitching, Cole's pitching. So you got the Astros and the Yankees, who I think are pretty safe bets there. And I like the Cardinals as well. So I almost parlayed the three of them up. It pays like plus 178, something like that.
Yeah.
So I almost went that route because I agree with you. I thought this was tougher than a normal day to find some of these horses that look like standouts on paper. It's one of the reasons I think we're both taking a little bit more of a shot in the horse racing world. Head over to Papa Dude now. He is going to play the Miami Marlins plus 103. And I know Papa Dude well enough to know that this is a pitching matchup play. He's got Sandy Alcantara hitting the mound for the Marlins. He's 5-3 with a 1.66 ERA at home. Overall, he's 9-4. With a 1.81 ERA. So pitching very, very well for the Marlins. On the other hand, you have Chris Bassett, who's 7-7 with a 3.3 and change ERA. So for the Mets probably have the better team, but you're getting the better pitcher in the Marlins and some plus money. So I don't blame him for jumping on the better pitcher here with the plus money.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's you got the home. You're at home. The Marlins are home. You're getting plus money. Mets are definitely better, right? Yeah. You know, so you just got to hope that they can, that he can go deep in this game and not get, have a rough inning or two early and then it's a wash from there, right? So, but no, I from a plus standpoint, it's probably not a terrible bet. The Marlins, I mean, they're not
the Marlins.
Yeah, they're the Marlins.
I feel bad for Papadou too. Yesterday, he played Tristan McKenzie and the Guardians. McKenzie gave up 1-3-1 homer. That was the difference in the game. They ended up losing 4-2. That 1-3 run shot really hurt him, kind of costing the game there.
Man, I feel like Papa Dude has just been. I try to keep up with what they're doing. Like I feel like his luck in baseball lately has been rough.
It's not been wonderful. I think in the last 5 days, he's got 2 blown saves in this 3-run homer, and he's 2-3. So, clearly could be 5-0 if things just went a little bit different for him there. So, been a rough little stretch there for Papa Dude, but 2-3 with everything that's gone wrong for him. Actually, not that bad. All right, let's head back over to Saratoga. We're going to talk about the stakes race, the Curlin last. Jared's going to the Curlin for his best bet of the day. I'm going to go to the 9th race, and for me, this is a little bit of a couple things. First off, when Bond goes to Saratoga, he always points for this meet. So James Bond always looking to try and get horses home here at Saratoga. And when he has live ones, generally the rider he calls is Luis Saez. And that's what we've got today in the 9th race for On the Hill. Bond called up Saez. And you cannot underestimate how big of a jockey upgrade this is. You got Herman Harkey the last 4 races. Now, Herman Harkey, honestly, one of the better journeyman guys for long shots, but not really someone you want on a 2-1, 3-1 shot. Now you switch from Herman Harkey over to Luis Saez. Last time faced Fuski Island or Funsky Island or whatever the heck island it is. Ended up running second in that race. So I like the fact that Bond calls up Saez for a Saratoga mount. On top of that, man, there's a lot of pace to chase in this race. You've got 4 horses that want to go to the lead. I think they're going to burn up early. I think Saez sits the perfect trip on the 5 horse here on the hill. I think he's able to pick up the pieces coming into the lane. I love the 9-2 price. I think we're going to get 5-1 on this horse. I don't think you're going to see this horse get bet off the board. And we've improved the last 3 starts. This is only the 6th start of the career. I think there might be even some upside for On the Hill that's still left over here. We're at the right level. We're improving. We're getting a massive jockey upgrade. James Bond's looking for Saratoga. Did you like my 5, Jared?
Yeah, I do like this 5. This horse is due. 5 starts at this distance, only 1 win, but 3 seconds. I mean, this horse is just knocking on the door constantly. And to your point, Saez jumps back aboard, who rode the horse, by the way, on debut. So I think that's you're gonna get in a race that sets up for speed, like a speed duel, some sort of speed, collapse. He definitely should be sitting the trip, right, with Luis Saez aboard. And I do love the Bond Saez combo as well. That's another one of those jockey trainer combos that I look for, especially at Saratoga. But yeah, I mean, you look at that, like the 1A drawing outside is going to go, right? Yep. The 9's going to go. The 8's shown speed in the past. I mean, that horse will be 7 will go. You know what I mean? Like, just go the list. Yeah, so the 5 could just sit chilly. The 5 does have early speed, but can kind of be tactical a little bit with that. So I definitely like that 5 play.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get the price. I really think we will. We lost 2 horses or 3 horses in here, but I don't think it changes the complexion of that race. And the fact that the 9 stayed in is your 5-2 morning line favorite, and the 3 stayed in, who I think is going to take quite a bit of money, means that the 5 should hold somewhere right around this 9-2 number. So hopefully we get a nice price home, get a nice little plus money bet here on the overall weekly unit number.
I will say I'm worried for you because for a guy that likes to run second in these, and this horse likes to run second, just brace yourself.
Harkey to Saez. That's got to be worth one horse. I mean, we're like within a length here. With all
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Saez may still be tired from riding Fearless yesterday, to be honest. He had to pump on that horse for almost a mile to be able to get Fearless up.
That was one of the most like, I was tired watching that race. I was like, just let the race finish, please.
I was just waiting for Saez is off all mounts for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I know. I tweeted out afterwards, like, Fearless is going to need a nap. And then someone's like, Saez, hell, look at that guy. Like, that dude, yeah, he pumped the shit out of that horse. And, yeah, got it done.
I got to say, I was impressed with Lone Rock even running third there, or fourth there, third, I think it was. He faced like 4 different pace presser challenges from different horses throughout that race. And then Fearless like just got to sit behind him the whole time and then closed down the stretch. So I felt bad for Lone Rock. I thought kind of took multiple people just kind of took it at him there during the stretch.
Oh yeah, that was and then Fearless looks like he's done. Then he kind of, even Saez said after the race, like, I thought he was done too. I didn't think I had anything left. And then he came inside there because that one horse went like 10 miles wide. Yeah. And then he just kind of kept coming. It was a wild race. Yeah. It was well done by Saez.
I think you and I can officially quit any Portos love off that race as well. If we can't run better than fourth in there, I don't think we're going to play that horse going long anymore.
I was mad at myself for even mentioning that horse, because I was like, what a mule. That horse couldn't even like do anything on that pace.
I had the 1-4 exacta that should have been 1-3, and that thing would have paid out pretty good. All right. Let's jump over to the key race of the day here. Jared, your best bet coming from race number 7 at Saratoga, the Curlin. You're going to take a horse jumping from maiden special weight all the way up into a stakes race. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So if you can't get, there's a trend here. I tend to be I love handicapping stakes races and any allowance races. Like I'm admittedly a much better handicapper for allowance and stakes horses than I am maiden special weights and especially like claiming races. And so I tend to gravitate towards the stakes races. I did a stakes race yesterday. Imminent Victor damn near won that race, a stakes race. So I get it's tough being a stakes race, but I don't know. Like, Creative Minister is the ultimate play against in this race. Forget the fact that it's Kenny McPeek.
That's an important fact. Let's remember that.
But it should be a given. If Kenny McPeek has a horse that's 2-1, I ain't playing him. We just know that. I think you agree. And like, he was okay in the Preakness. He knocked that race, but I do think that number was inflated due to the Preakness running of early voting at the center. And the Belmont was not good, right? And so I just don't know what he is. He could win, sure. I think he's got talent. I mean, he obviously showed it a little bit before the Preakness, but at 2-1, no thanks. Just not doing it. So I kind of ultimately was looking for a new shooter, so to speak. I think Western River is interesting at a price. I would use him underneath, but I ultimately went to that number 9 all the way to the outside. Artorias, 7-2 morning line, Chad Brown, Ortiz, Juddmont, arrogant horse. I mean, come on. You look at the way this horse is running the last 2 races, debuts going, maiden special weight going 6 furlongs. Closes, but it, kind of like the horse we talked about in the first race, didn't, needed to go longer. Then the horse, go watch that Belmont race last time out going a mile. I thought he was very, very professional considering it was a maiden special weight, a second start lifetime. This horse was very push button, was kind of tactical, got a good spot. And then whenever Irad was ready to go, boom, the race was over. And, Gasoline, the horse ran a good second that day. But Artorias just looked like he was ready to go when he was ready, when Irad said go. And the fact that this horse is going in off of maiden special weight straight to this race tells me that Chad likes this horse quite a bit, and Irad still got the mount. So I think Artorias is interesting, and especially at that 7-2 price, I think he's going to be tough to beat. I don't know about you. I know you like this horse, but I think having that we've got Creative Minister, Be Better is in here, which I thought was interesting as well. Like Artorias, we should get like 3-1 on him, right?
Yeah. I think the morning line is a little high on Creative Minister. I think you're going to see Creative Minister go off at 7-5 to 8-5, somewhere in that range. Like the money is going to come in on Creative Minister because of, like you said, the Preakness effort. The Belmont wasn't that bad. It wasn't that good, but it wasn't that bad. And that allowance at Churchill going 2 turns, going to mile 16th, looks good on paper. But when you dig into that allowance, only McLaren Vale is one back, and that was in a starter allowance race. So no one else has won back from that allowance yet. And you mentioned that last race for Arturos, and I think this is important. So Win It, the third place finishing horse in that race, came back to win next time out. Do you know who Win It beat? Win It beat Sidekick, the horse from the first race, the 5 horse.
There you go.
You have Win It, who jumps up to a 91 buyer. The third place finisher, who was 18-1 in that race, jumps up to a 91 buyer and beats Sidekick next out. So all of a sudden, that maiden special weight looks a little bit better. Now, Gasoline didn't run as well, but Gasoline had run well prior to that, and then came back and ran again in that same Win It race, ends up finishing 4th. So that maiden special weight, I think, was a very good maiden special weight. And you mentioned Chad Brown. He's freaking loaded. He's got 2 tomorrow in the Jim Dandy. He just ran Jack Christopher in the Haskell, and he's got another 3-year-old. He's going to jump out of a maiden special weight right into the fire here in the Curlin. It tells you what he thinks of that horse. I'm leaning on him here. I'm going to single him in my late pick 5 and hope we can get through this leg and then spread like crazy elsewhere. I like this play at 7-2. I think we're going to get every bit of that number. I think that's a big key here.
I just don't I think he's the most likely winner in the race, and I being a new shooter is, so to speak, he presents a lot of opportunity to cash in because you don't, like you said, everyone's going to be looking at that Belmont and the Preakness, and you see Preakness and Belmont in the past performances. Creative Minister, you know what I mean? Like that was a very high horse in both those races, especially the Preakness.
Yep.
And so you got to assume that that's going to be the case here. And yeah, I think Artorias is just going to get. I was between the 8 and 9, honestly, when I came to making my top pick, and I watched all 3 of Be Betters and both of Artorias' races, and I just think that Artorias is more talented than the 8. I think the horse is faster. I think the horse is more tactical. So that's ultimately why I ended up on the 9. And the more I looked at this race, I just thought the way this horse drew, I know it's outside, but I love the fact that going long, the horse is going to be able to sit the trip that he needs. I think coming for home, this horse is going to be right there, and I just hope that he can get it done for IRAD at a price.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the 9 post isn't that tough because of the tactical speed. We should be able to get placement early and decide if he wants to kind of come from mid-pack or come from that second flight. I don't expect him to be on the lead. One horse I think is a little interesting in here. Did you consider it all the 4-horse Make It Big? You mentioned the new shooter. This is kind of the ultimate new shooter. Wins the Springboard Mile, jumps up into this Sam F. Davis, gets absolutely lit up by Classic Causeway. Interesting that Jose Ortiz rides it twice for the Saffie Joseph barn, which generally struggles outside of Florida. Switch over to the Pletcher barn. We don't see this horse for, 9 months now, 8 months? And this is where we show up when you have Be Here as well in the race. Any interest in the 4 at all?
I mean, he's interesting, right? I'm going to take it. I'm going to take a wait and see approach with the 4. I mean, going from Saffie to Todd, and then of course you get John Velasquez. That's nice, right? You're getting the 15-1, I guess, if you want. You got to remember this horse was the favorite of his first 3 starts, including that win in the Springboard Mile. Sam F. Davis, he did get lit up to Classic Causeway. Obviously we hadn't seen since. So I don't know what he is, but he definitely could outrun his odds. Let's say that.
Yeah, he's an underneath horse to me. I like that number at 15-1. I like the fact that Pletcher put him in here with Be Here in the race as well. And Velasquez taking them out is not a bad thing as well. The layoff means you could see quite a bit of improvement too. And you've got that 84 buyer that you can point back to in the Springboard Mile. If you can say, okay, we're going to improve 10% off that, all of a sudden we're low 90s and we kind of fit with some of the rest of this field. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that you see him run at a big number in the 2nd or 3rd spot here in this race. All right, let's recap the best bets here for the day real quick. We got Papa Dude playing the Marlins plus 103. Aaron heading over to take the Orioles plus 130, even though they don't have a starting pitcher yet. Jared going to the feature at Saratoga playing the 9 Artemis. I'm going to go to the 9th race here and play the 5-horse on the hill, 9-2 morning line. Got some ground to make up after yesterday. We had a couple bad beats, but we'll be back at it here. So we still got 3 more days to make it a winning week, going for a 3rd winning week in a row.
Hey, the Dudes Tournament Challenge today, later this afternoon, starts with race 7 at Saratoga, that Curlin. So make sure if you aren't signed up, make sure you go sign up. It's exclusive for any Racing Dudes premium subscriber. So if you're a subscriber to the Somobombs or any of our premium products on our site, just go to your dashboard. It's in there. Just get the invite, and you can go sign up at Horse Attorneys. We play for cash, $150 cash credit or site credit to Horse Attorneys as well. It's fun. The tournament today is going to start with, like I said, race 7 at Saratoga. I think it's 7 through 10 at Saratoga, finishes off the card, and then goes straight to Del Mar. I think it's like Del Mar 2, maybe. Yep. The last 6 there. So, yeah, it should be a hell of a tournament. Del Mar, Saratoga, what more you need? We talked about a bunch of those races that are going to be on it as well. So, me and Halterman, I don't know if Magic will be on it. Somich will be there in it. We'll all be in there. So if you want to challenge us, make sure you go sign up for that. And I don't know, that makes this race interesting because he's my best bet. At 7-2, I think you can play him, right?
I've gone back and forth on him, on the 2, on the 4. It's kind of who I want to play. It's going to matter. It's nice that this is the first race in the tournament, as you mentioned, because it allows you to really odd shop, right? Yeah, if the 9 horse is bet down to 2-1, I'm not using him in a tournament. But if that 9 horse is sitting at 4-1, then I probably am. That 3-1, 7-2 is that questionable point of whether or not you really want to use them there. And I this is going to be a fun one. We got 24 people in there, so there's $240 in the pot. Jared mentioned the Racing Dudes add $150 in tournament site credit there. So whoever wins the tournament, the highest place subscriber, unfortunately us dudes can't get the extra $150, but you guys can. It only costs $10 to get in, and this is a fun one. It's 4 Saratoga, it's 6 Del Mar. Good races, so it should be an absolute blast. But yeah, that first race is going to be interesting because you definitely got an odd shop there.
Yeah, thank goodness it is the first race because it's one of those races that I feel like if you don't play the 9 and he's sitting there at 4-1, you're like, damn it, why didn't I not do that? And so I'll definitely be looking at that closely. It always factor in this field size as well. How many people we have in it. Do you need to go for that 8-1 or whatever, or can you just try to play the 7-2 and just get one home? So yeah, make sure you guys sign up for that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back here tomorrow with Dudes Who Bet Daily at noon Eastern. We'll have the best bets from Saratoga for Jim Dandy Day. We'll be back out at Del Mar. Probably have some baseball bets. Got more of the crew coming out tomorrow. We'll be back on Sunday as well. See if we can get some big days going here to head home for the week. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Actually, no. We'll see you at 4 o'clock for the Dudes Tournament Challenge live right back here.
Yes.